If you look at the Bitcoin chart alone, it's not a pretty picture. And that's because we've just put in a lower low right here after 18 months of an uptrend. This is the first time that we've actually put in a lower low on the charts. And a lot of names and big names are actually calling for potentially the end of the bull market. But I've been here for a long time. In fact, I've been here since 2014, 2015. And what I know is that this is part of a normal cycle. And what I also know is that every time that I've taken a bet in this part of the cycle, it's been the best bet that I've ever made. And if I take a bet right now, my instinct tells me that if I take a bet right now, it will determine the outcome of how well I do in this bull market. And so what I've done is I've actually taken the biggest bet that I've taken this whole cycle. And I've taken it not only against the market, but I've taken it against all my researchers internally. I've bet them that this is the right time to buy, and I've bet them what I'm going to be buying, and I've taken a bet against all of them. And today I'm going to show you the biggest bet that I've made in crypto. So it's going to be an amazing show. It's going to be a lot of fun, and you can participate in the bet as well. Let's get going. Let's do this. It's a big bet that I've taken, and as I said, I've taken it against the researchers, I've taken it against a lot of people in the company, and actually you can participate in the bet as well. You'll see the bet later. The bet comes down to me saying that the worst is over, to have enough conviction to actually start placing some bets, and I'm going to show you exactly what my bets are, and they are the biggest bets that I've taken in this cycle, that's for sure, that's for sure. So listen, it's been a rough weekend. If we look at the charts, where are we? 57,346. When I woke up this morning, we were at about 53 or 54,000 again. And I thought, oh man, I've already called the bottom. I really hope this doesn't go any lower. But I think I'm going to stick to my call with conviction. And I think I'm going to show you why and exactly what I'm doing about it. So if you're not already subscribed to the channel, what the hell are you waiting for? 946,141 subscribers. Join us. Let's get this thing to 1 million subscribers. And we're very much on the way. In fact, one of the only channels that's actually growing through this time. And that's probably a testament to the hard work that we've actually been putting in. If you are a subscriber, you know what you need to do. Smash the like button. I see we've got only 409 likes. We need to get 413. We need to get this to over 2,000 likes in the show. Remember, the more you like, the more alpha I give. And we need the alpha now because this is the right time. This is the right time. This is when you want to be buying while other people are so fearful. And I'll show you my thesis. We're going to get straight into the thesis. All right, so let's look at the charts. And I'll admit, if you look at the charts alone, not a great picture. Why not a great picture? So number one, we're under the 200-day moving average, exponential and simple moving average. And a lot of people say that is the bull market support levels. The next thing is, if you look at the chart's printed a lower high, a lower low here and here. So this is the first actual lower low after 18 months of higher highs coming in all the time. And what you're getting now is you're getting a scenario where a lot of the big names in crypto are kind of saying, look, the fate of this bull market rests in how quickly Bitcoin can capture that 200-day moving average. So if we go back to the chart and we look at this 200-day moving average, which is at about 58 or 59, depending on whether you're looking at the simple or the exponential one, a lot of market commentators are saying that the fate of this bull market is in how quickly we can conquer these two levels. One, how quickly can we conquer the higher high? And two, how quickly can we conquer the 200-week moving average? You can see, reclaim it quickly, and we can act like it never happened. That is a crypto jelly. Benjamin Cowan says Bitcoin is currently below its 200-day simple moving average with a local low on 5 July. I think the answer to what happens in Q4 likely depends on how quickly Bitcoin can reclaim the 200-day simple moving average. So people are saying that what Bitcoin does in the next couple of days, and you can see another one of those people over here where he says, in bull markets, Bitcoin doesn't stay under the 200-day exponential moving average for long. Still not closing my shorts, still a bit hopeful. But a lot of people are saying that Bitcoin's future now lies in how quickly we can reclaim this level. Some people have already written this off. I mean, Peter Brandt, who's actually a very good chartist, he says, has Bitcoin actually completed the double top? And for those of you who've been here for a while, you know that the double top is the pattern that usually ends the bull markets. And he's saying, if yes, minimum target is 44,000. So he says we can go all the way down to 44,000. Andrew Kang, he says he actually believes that 98% plus of all the altcoins have topped for the cycle, except for maybe a handful of altcoins that may make new highs in Q4 2024 and Q1 2025. So he's already declared altcoins dead this cycle. And then Følleth, he says, look, we're pretty much peaked and we're now going into a bear market. So, if you look at the charts, between those who think that the fate of Bitcoin lies in how quickly it can conquer the 200-day moving average, some have written it off completely and some of them have written it off for half. I'm actually taking a completely different view. And my view is, as I said over here, I think the worst is over. And despite how much flack social media people like me get and big influencers like me get, I'm actually going to stick my neck out. And even though I know the amount of flack that we're going to get, I'm going to say that we are either at a bottom or very, 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 very close to the bottom. Now, obviously, I can't control what happens to the market. And for all I know, we may get another leg down. But I've been here before. And I know from being here before that this is very, very, very close to the bottom feeling. I also know that in the beginning of this correction, if you remember, I pointed out that we needed a correction. And I said that the reason why we needed a correction was because the behavior in this market was very, very, very frothy. It was at the beginning of the meme coin cycle. And I said this behavior of everyone taking money out of memes and putting money that should be going into good projects into memes is frothy behavior. I said the market had gone up for too long without a correction and we needed a correction. And then I said that the correction will end when people stop believing that altcoins will ever recover. That is for me what my turning, I said this 3 months ago when Bitcoin was at an all-time high. I said, this market will correct and the end of the correction won't come very quickly. It'll come when people believe that the altcoins will never, ever survive. Now, if you read this tweet from someone who's very, very, very well known and been in the crypto market for a long period of time, when he believes that 98% of altcoins have topped and will never, ever come back, you're getting exactly the signs that a market reversal may actually be imminent. So I'm going to stick to my thesis and say, look, we may not be at a bottom, but we definitely near a bottom. I also want to say that I've been here for multiple of the previous cycles. I've been here since the end of 2014. And I know that these halving cycles all look the same. And every single halving cycle has one of these downward wicks. We spoke about this the other day. This last cycle, which is this wick over here, this little wick here, which at the time was very, very scary, was the COVID correction. In the previous cycle, this one over here, this wick was a Bitfinex outage. And the cycle before, which you can't really see over here, but there is a wick over here. The cycle before was a Chinese Ponzi scam. And so one thing I know is that what we're witnessing in this cycle is we're seeing mean reversion. The market moves between going way above the mean to way below the mean, from over the mean to under the mean. And in this cycle, we went over the mean by quite a lot because of the ETF, which came way before the halving. And as Benjamin Khan pointed out in this tweet, he says, to put into perspective, if we were to perform the same as the last cycles, Bitcoin would still be down 40% from the all-time high, which means that we'd be at 42,000 and we are at 57,000. So what I'm seeing here is I'm seeing that we're just going into a state of mean reversion. And what I know is that every time that we have these corrections and the fear and greed index starts to go down, and this was another one of the telltale signs that I was actually looking for. I was waiting for the fear and greed to drop. And I don't know if you remember, but I kept saying, fear and greed is not dropping. Fear and greed is not dropping. People aren't scared. And then we thought that this indicator was broken, but this indicator only looks at Bitcoin, doesn't look at everything else. Now, for the first time, you can see in this cycle, this is the first correction that we've had in over the first correction that we've had with over 25% drawdown. And it's the first time in the cycle that people are actually starting to feel scared. You can see the fear and greed is at about 28. Now, what I also know is when the fear and greed starts to go down like this, people start getting fearful. And when people start getting fearful, what they start doing is they start calling for the end of the bull market. And you can see this. It says, this is Emperor Beats. He says, something that scares me right now about crypto. Bullish news isn't able to pump crypto. Bearish news immediately dumps crypto. And that's kind of normal in a bear market or in a bull market correction in a bearish period. Følleth, as I said, he's already declared the bull market completely over. He's found a chart and he's drawn the chart. This is actually from Beeple. And he's now, and he called crypto winter. And this one here is from Crypto Señorito, who says, it's over. Sell everything. The only thing is, that if you look at the dates of when this happened, it's actually the same period, but it's not now. It's actually from 2021. And this one is also from 2021. Because I've been here for long enough to know that every sell in May period, and specifically after a halving year, looks exactly the same. And you always get this chart here looking the same. You always get this choppy and slash downward with multiple capitulations, and it always feels the same, and people always call for the end of crypto. There's nothing different between this cycle and any other cycle. And what I know about this part of the cycle is that in this part of the cycle, it pays to be like the cockroach. Okay, now let me explain to you what I mean by pays to be like the cockroach, because I know this is going to be memed. Any bullish post now is now swarmed with people saying it's cope or bullshit. Love to see it. I'm a cockroach. I can live another bear market being happy because the sun always comes up eventually. So I think what I've realized is that the reason why I'm still here today, after having been here for so many cycles, is because in all the other cycles, I was like the cockroach. Now, in terms of these previous cycles, I made a lot of mistakes in this cycle over here. And in fact, when this capitulation happened, I remember selling my tokens. I was much smarter in this cycle over here, although I didn't crack it fully. But in all the cycles that I was around, ultimately, I was always like the cockroach. I managed to survive under the rock for a long period of time, and that's the reason why I'm still here. And in fact, what I do know is all the decisions that I made while I was in the bear markets, the decisions that I made in those bear markets was the decisions that mapped whether I would or wouldn't make money in the cycle. If I had conviction during the bear markets when people proclaimed crypto to be over, and I made decisions to buy instead of to panic sell, those are the moves that actually got me to make money in the cycle versus the other moves that got me to lose money in the cycles. And so I know that when sentiment goes something like this, when people are texting me going, hey, quick question, what do you think of the market? Honestly, a bit scared as my bags keep going into more shit. And I said, well, I think selling now would be a bad idea. And he said, yes, of course, but scary to buy more. I know that every time I've bought, when people have been scared to buy, those are the decisions that have actually changed the outcome of my bags. And all the decisions which I've made to buy while the market's in an upward momentum have ultimately landed up costing me. And so I'm getting the feeling now that right now, the best place for us to be, or the best thing for us to be, is to be exactly like the cockroach. And if we're going to be like the cockroach, ultimately what we need to do is we need to live another bear, choppy market, being happy and knowing that we have enough conviction and know that the sun is going to come up. And when the sun comes up, we'll have our bags firmly set and ready to make life-changing money. I cannot stress this enough. Cockroaches. I can see there's a lot of cockroaches in the chat. Lots and lots of cockroaches. If you are a cockroach, or if you're going to be like the cockroach, just drop it in the chat and just put cockroaches everywhere. Let's get this chat completely cockroached here. So I know that, again, I can't keep stressing that the decisions that I've made and the buy orders that I've made and the buys that I've made in the period like this, where it's so full, where everybody's scared and it feels crazy to be buying and everyone's calling for the end of crypto, those are the ones that have made me the most money in my crypto life. And so, whereas some people are looking at this very, very short term, and they're looking at the 1 hour candles and how much we pumped in the 1 hour candle, about the short term buy volume, about the fact that all of a sudden there's a spot bid. And I looked at the short term. I said, look, the market was at Mt. Gox levels. Some people are looking at it slightly long term. They're looking at it this week and they're saying, you know what, this week we've got a big week. We've got the CPI projections and that can turn the market. I'm not looking at it short term. I'm taking a decision to do what I've done all along, which has actually worked for me, which is actually to zoom out and to look at this market for the long term. Because the truth is, I don't know how to trade the market short term. There are people who know how to try to trade the market short term, but to be honest, I've never, ever seen a multi-billionaire who made his money out of short-term trading markets. The biggest and the best billionaires in the world made their money through taking investments, long-term investments, blocking out short-term noise, and putting down bets when others were fearful. And that is how to make money in this market. So yes, you can look at it short-term. But as I say, I've never met a trader, and I don't interact with anyone who's made a lot of money by taking short-term bets. all the biggest people that I've met, especially in crypto, made their money by putting money into Bitcoin, Ethereum, things like Solana, and holding it through multiple cycles, through good and through bad, exactly like the cockroach, hiding under the rock and just waiting for the sun to come out. And that's exactly the attitude which I'm applying now when I'm looking at this market. This market, I'm being like the cockroach. And Santiago is doing the same. He says, timing markets in the near term, I believe is tricky, but this is probably the most challenging environment I've seen, especially since equities are ripping, rates are high, but crypto is chopping with pronounced volume. At the same time, this might be the time. Sorry, I've had the most convictions on specific trends and projects. The end game is clearer and nearer, yet markets are not reflecting that. There's a disconnect in markets between fundamentals and short-term price. And this might be one of the biggest opportunities if you're looking at a market like that. Also, if you've been here for a long time, you know that every cycle looks exactly the same. So for me, there's probably 4 reasons why today I'm zooming out and I have more conviction than any other time that I've had in the cycle. And I want to walk you through why I have more conviction now than I've had in any other time in the cycle and why I'm taking the biggest bet that I've ever taken in crypto. The first reason is because this is part of a normal cycle. And fundamentally, I can't see anything wrong with the market. In fact, if anything, all I can see is that the fundamentals are stronger than they've ever been. So I've got to stop looking at what the market's doing and I've got to start looking at the fundamentals. Let's just look at the fundamentals. We've got institutional acceptance of Bitcoin. You've got the ETH ETF approval coming out. You got the ETH ETF starting to trade maybe this week, maybe next week. You've got the Bitcoin ETFs. And they were put into a situation where they were tested last week. Because when the market actually went down because of the Mt. Gox coins, they had 2 options. They could either panic sell or they could buy the dip. The Bitcoin ETFs actually bought the dip, which shows that these guys are looking at it as a serious investment. And they're putting serious investment money behind it. So from a fundamental point of view, there's nothing wrong with this market. And more than that, it's the same as every other cycle, specifically when it comes down to the halving. So that's the first reason why I'm zooming out, and I think this is the best time to actually start buying. The second thing is there's a massive catch-up trade. And what I mean by a massive catch-up trade, if you look at the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ, what you can see is that these markets are at all-time highs. You can see that. Just look at the NASDAQ chart and the markets. Now, what I also know is that the NASDAQ is representative of risk assets. And at the far end of risk assets is crypto, beyond the NASDAQ. And so generally, in a situation where risk assets are performing, crypto should perform better than the NASDAQ, but it's not. And that gets me to think that there's going to be a catch-up trade really soon. And as you can see, what the correlations right now, when I look at the correlations right now, Bitcoin's correlation to S&P is the lowest point in over 4 years. And you can see that over here. When you look at the correlation between Bitcoin and the NASDAQ or Bitcoin and the S&P, what you can see is that the correlation is the lowest that it's been, I think, ever. But if not ever, certainly in the last couple of years. Okay, so it's look at it over here. Probably since January 2020. That was the last time that the correlation between Bitcoin and the stock markets was so disconnected. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that either the stock markets have to catch up to crypto and go down a lot, or Bitcoin has to catch up to the stock markets and go up a lot. And I believe that since the catch-up trade is actually going to be to the upside and Bitcoin's going to catch up to the stock market. And the reason why I believe that brings me to the third point as to why I'm so bullish. Remember, the first point I'm so bullish is because I really think that this is part of a normal cycle. The second, and fundamentally, nothing's broken in crypto. In fact, the fundamentals are stronger than ever. The second thing is I think the correlation between crypto and the stock market is an all-time low. But the third thing is that I know that we're moving into a rate cut cycle. And we've read this tweet many times before, but the guy says if you lived another 100 years, you might not see a larger rate cut cycle, the likes of which you're about to see. We're working with 525 basis points of pure Americana. And so what this is alluding to is the fact that we are about to get a whole lot of rate cuts. And by the way, this weekend, Citibank said that they think that the Fed will cut in September and then cut 8 straight times to get us back down to avoid the recession. I don't think it's going to be that aggressive, but I do think that we are going to start cutting and that the money supply is about to explode. And you can see that in the money supply chart, which is this chart over here. And if the money supply chart starts to explode, then, well, we're going to be drowning in liquidity, kind of similar to a COVID situation. And when we start drowning in liquidity, similar to the COVID situation, we're going to have risk assets running. Now, you add that to the fact that we are due a catch-up trade for the Nasdaq, to the Nasdaq, because the correlation is down, and you can only see crypto going much higher. You add that to the fact that this is part of a normal cycle and the fundamentals are strong, and it kind of feels like at some point we're really going to start chasing, really start catching up and really start running in the cycle. And so what I think is going to happen is I think we're going to follow the 2019 scenario. And I want to show you what the 2019 scenario looks like. So this is the 2019 scenario. Here, at this point of here, which is COVID, everybody wrote crypto off. We had the lower high, we had the lower low, and then the market just shot up and we went into the major alt season. Also, people say the last time the sentiment was this low was 19th of June, 2023. This is based on the sentiment readings. This is the 19th of June, 2023 over here. There we go. And you can see what happened. We went straight back up here. So both of those indicators are showing us that we're going to be going down. When it comes to altcoins, you can see that the RSIs are back at very good buy levels. And you can also see that even some of the biggest names, like Benjamin Carney says, I think Bitcoin dominance will top around 60 between September and December. And I remember September is not very far away. September is a month and a half away. So there's the rest of July, then there's August, then we're in September. So Ben Khan says at that time, Bitcoin will top. And then we could get back into some kind of alt season. And so, look, with all that said, with all the conviction that I have, with this being part of a normal cycle, with a catch-up trade, with more liquidity going into the market, with the fact that right now we're very fearful, and I haven't seen people being this scared before. For me, this period, it reeks of a buying opportunity. And the truth is that I know that if you don't get into the market now, or start getting into the market now, you're going to regret it. You're going to say, I had the opportunity to get all these altcoins 95% down, and I was too scared. And that's exactly how it feels, because right now I guarantee that there's no one here who's watching the show that's thinking to themselves, I better be buying, I better be buying, I better be buying. I think, in fact, this is more the sentiment that's out there. Scary to buy more. I'm down 30% overall. This was what this WhatsApp message said. If you're down 30%, I think you've done actually very well. This is much bigger than 30%. A lot of people are down much more than 30%. So I believe that right now the sentiment is that everybody's scared to buy. And I also believe what 値says. He says, if in quality and spot for the long term, it matters less that your entry is perfect and matters more that you keep buying what you can in bloodbaths. If you're out of cash, just chill. I think it's exactly right. If you have money, this is the best time to start buying. If you don't have money, chill. And if you chill, just make sure that you're holding good stuff. And if you're not holding good stuff, get out of the bad stuff and start buying the good stuff. Switch your bad tokens for tokens that you want to be holding for the rest of the cycle. And this is where my bet comes in, because I told you in the beginning of the show that I put my biggest bet ever on crypto. And I said to you that I put the biggest bet ever not only against the market, but actually against all my researchers, or some of my researchers who are willing to take the bet with me. And this is how the bet works. I believe that now is the best time to be actually buying into crypto. And that's where my biggest bet against the market goes, because right now I'm going to start allocating a whole lot of money to the market. I also believe that my altcoin picks are going to beat the researchers' altcoin picks and your altcoin picks too. And I'm willing to put $10,000 on the line, just like I have with my researchers. If any researcher beats me, they're going to get $10,000. And actually, if any of you in the audience beat me, then you can have $10,000 too. So here's how it works. I've put a list together of my top 12 convictions, my top 12 tokens, which are going to be the best performers 1 year from now. So the time frame is 1 year from today. And what I'm playing here is I'm playing a new buy list into the narratives of the market now. Now, I have given you guys altcoin calls. I gave you my top 10 highest conviction bets, and those calls still hold. I've given you some buy lists earlier in the year, and those coins also still hold. I haven't changed my conviction on any of them. But right now, you've got to position your chips to be positioned with the best risk return for the next part of the cycle. And the next part of the cycle is going to be about Ethereum, about the approval of the ETH ETF, about tokenizing real world assets, and et cetera, et cetera. And so based on that, I made a buy list. And I made a buy list of 12 new coins, or 12 coins. Some of them are on our previous buy list and some of them aren't. And I think that these 12 coins are going to be the best 12 performing coins 12 months from today. So today is the 8th of July. We meet again on the 8th of July, 2025, and we decide who the winner is here. Now, first of all, let's see whether I beat my researchers over here. And you can see there's Team Joe, Team Paolo, Team Oliver, Team Jonas, Team Chris, and Team Kapoor. And at the same time, if you go to the bottom of the show, I'll show it to you now. I see even Miles is saying cycle top is in. You see, that's people are starting to capitulate. So you can go into this thing over here, and you can complete this form over here. There's a form over here. You can see the form over there. You can complete the form over here and take the bet against me. And on the 8th of July, 2025, we'll publicize who the winners are. But along the way, we'll also publicize who the winners are. So let's get into my top conviction bets if you're starting a portfolio today for the next part of the cycle. Now, remember, if we are starting a portfolio today, you want to make sure that your portfolio is slightly more weighted towards Ethereum. I think Bitcoin's had its run. I think Bitcoin's had its inflows. And I think that now there's going to be a massive ETH narrative. And we want to capitalize on the massive ETH narrative. So let me quickly get my calls. And I'm going to start off with my first call. The first call for me is to get into ETH. Now, I know you're surprised. Why would I take this portfolio and actually put money into ETH? Surely ETH can only 1x or 2x or maybe 3x at the end of the cycle. And that's why I'm going to take a little bit of a different approach in terms of getting into ETH. Instead of buying ETH itself and putting down $3,000 per ETH, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to December 2025, or in fact, we can even go much later, but let's go into June 2025 options. Actually, let's do this. Let's do December 2024 options. And let's buy options at today's strike price. So today's strike price is, let's call it 3,200, and you're going to pay $550 per option. Now, when you pay $550 per option here, you get all the upside of the ETH movement, and you can sell this option at any point in time. If you want to do this, you go to 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬 and you sign up to 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬 over here, and then you can buy options. So again, instead of putting down $3,300 to buy one ETH, what you can see is I've actually bought 50 options at $550, which give me all the upside. So instead of buying ETH itself, what I'm doing is I'm actually buying ETH options, and the price that I'm paying right now for those options is I'm paying $558. Let's just call it $558. So let's cost those that's a $558. And that's the first bet that I would take if I was constructing a portfolio today. The next bet that I would take is around ETH. And it's Ethereum ENS, Ethereum name server. And the reason why I choose this is the application which creates our identity on ETH. It's like your domain, your name, or your domain.eth. Now, people think, okay, that's great. That's just a crazy, fancy domain name, but it's not. Because each domain name is actually linked to an ETH address, which means that your business and your domain name can actually be linked to a .eth address. So Vitalik says that ENS is one of our most successful non-financial applications, and I don't know why more people don't care about it. You can also see, if you look at the usage numbers of ENS, that the usage numbers is over 2 million active names, and that the usage numbers are actually growing quite a bit. If I look at the price chart, and I think let's get some price charts going in here, you can see that ENS has been one of those that reacts very, 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 let me just see if we can get a good chart here. So you see, it's quite a reactive chart, and it's very, 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 very much on the uptrend. So my number two, after buying ETH options, which I think you should buy on 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕, what I would do is I'd buy some ENS. The third one that I would get into is again around the ETH and the real world asset play, and that is Pendle. Now, the reason why I'd buy Pendle is because I think there's going to be a massive narrative around real world assets, and I think that Pendle is one of the pieces of infrastructure that you need. It allows people to separate their yield from their actual principal. And that's a big thing around interest rate markets. Now, I think that with ETH and with the real world asset play around the corner, I think Pendle is one that you must have on your portfolio. The next one that I'd have is Celestia. Now, a lot of you are going to be surprised and say, but Ran, why would you buy Celestia when Celestia is now trading at $5.99 and when Celestia is the epitome of a high FDV, low market float coin, which have been hated on by the market? So the first thing I want to say here is we're only buying this if it goes under $4.50. Otherwise, we're not buying this token. The next thing that I want to say is that I think that these high FDV, low float tokens are actually going to have, at some point, the market is going to have priced these things so badly. In other words, the market's going to knock these high FDV, low float tokens so low that their FDV is actually going to be so low that it's actually going to be worth buying. Now, the ones that would probably be the best to buy when this happens are probably the ones that are the most hated. Now, the most hated three are Celestia, Saga, and Dimension, and those are the ones that I'd actually be looking at in the revenge trade against the high FDV. So as the market is knocking down the high FDV tokens, at some point they're going to become so knocked down that we're actually going to have to turn them around. And when they turn around, they're going to have the most hated rally. And so for me, that's why I would buy Celestia, but I'd only buy it under $4.50. Otherwise, we're not taking that trade. So remember, it's not an automatic buy for that one. Next one. This should be no surprise. It's Arweave. You know that with the launch of the AO computer, I think that Arweave, from a technological standpoint, is really one of my highest conviction bets this cycle. They are exploding in terms of usage. I mean, this ecosystem just keeps growing and growing and growing. And I think the market's going to reward them very, 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 very highly when the market actually turns around. And I have no doubt that the market's actually going to turn around. The next one is, I'm torn. I don't know if I should choose Axelar or Chainlink. I will update my spreadsheet later and I will drop it for you guys. There's already a link to the spreadsheet, but it's either going to be Axelar or Chainlink. And again, this is around the use of real world assets. And in fact, you know what? I'm actually going to make a decision now. I'm going to take the more risky one. I know Chainlink's a safer option, but I'm going to go for Axelar. And the reason why I like Axelar is because it hasn't had as much hype as Chainlink. It is required for the real world asset narrative. And they explained it very beautifully in a tweet here where they said, analysts estimate that asset tokenization could reach 16 trillion by 2030. Institutions will use various blockchains for various cases, making interoperability a practical necessity. Accelerators, check out the full research report. And so that is what Axelar does. Axelar is a cross-chain network, which people are going to need to use doing this. Next one on my list is ZK Sync. And the reason why I choose ZK Sync is because, again, this is a launch that came onto the market, was really, really hated by the market launch. And at some point, these L2s on ETH are going to rally, and the market is going to have punished the low FDV tokens quite a bit. And so for me, again, this is one where I'm not buying unless we get to 0.12. So when we get to 0.12, I'm actually looking to buy the one. Otherwise, I'm not getting into that trade. Next one, Solana. Listen, you can't argue with Solana. It is it's been incredibly resilient. Even through this bear market, it's been incredibly resilient. It is right now the leading fast blockchain on the market. It is right now the leading high transaction, low cost blockchain on the market. Right now, it is leading because of the meme coin cycle, but there's a lot of other stuff being built in it. So for me, Solana remains one of my conviction bets. Just as Injective does, GMX does, and Rune does. All of these are tried and tested protocols. Injective has had an incredible run and a huge correction. And you can see that every time the market starts moving, Injective is one of the first tokens to actually perform. And it's done that, and it's only logical that when the market actually does go up, we could break the all-time highs here, which is $53 and $54. And so for me, Injective makes my list. GMX, a lot of people are saying, why GMX? It seems like it's an old token. It seems like there hasn't been action on this token for a while. It seems like they're better competitors. Guys, I just look at the data. And if I look at the data in terms of weekly fees and number of traders, GMX ranks number one in terms of all the perpetuals dexes. So yes, I love drift, but in this case, because of the valuation difference, I've taken GMX. If you're unsure and you want another Solana play, then just add drift. Switch the GMX here with drift. It's up to you. And then Rune, I mean, look, you know I've been very bullish on Rune. I think Rune is a one-horse race around the way that they do cross-chain applications. But if you look at the growth, whilst everyone is crying about price, just look at the growth in terms of the data. So those are my bets, barring one. Now, if you look at this list, you know that I'm very, very, very bullish on the Telegram ecosystem. Problem is, when I look at the Telegram valuation, the ton valuation is actually quite high now. Now, again, it's one of my biggest bets I've taken this cycle. It's currently one of my biggest holdings. And for me, adoption on the Telegram ecosystem is going to be incredible. Problem is that there's already a $36 billion fully diluted market cap. So now it comes down to asking yourself how big your balls are, okay? If you have big balls of steel, then you can go into Resistance Dog. Okay, now Resistance Dog is the only meme coin that I put in this list, and it's the meme coin on ton. Now I was contemplating, should I put a meme coin on the list? Shouldn't I put a meme coin on the list? And I said, I'm going to put a meme coin on the list. I was torn between putting this and an AI play on the list. And if I was going to put an AI play on the list, then I would have put based on AI, because I think that that's the best AI play in the market right now. But I settled on Resistance Dog. And the reason is because I want a high leverage play on the ton ecosystem. And the highest leverage play on the ton ecosystem is probably Resistance Dog. If you don't have as much balls, then go into based AI or go into Telegram itself. But this is how I would position my portfolio. We've got the starting date today. It's the 8th of July. We've got the starting tokens. We've also got all the starting tokens of all the members of the team. Like you can see that Paolo, he went Lido, Pendle, SSV, Jupiter, Axelar, Velo, Gel, Gear, DMT, Foo. What is Foo? Small gaming studio. Okay, so Paolo has gone like way, way left wing. Joe went Rollbit. He loves Rollbit. The guy, I promise you, if he could marry Rollbit, he would marry Rollbit. He's been dating Rollbit ever since the day I was born. 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗓, which is actually a very good one. Actually, maybe I should have put some money into 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗓. Layer 0, also very, very, very good. It does have a lot of things. So look, number one, you can look at my picks. You can look at all the researchers' picks here. We've taken a competition between ourselves. It's all of them against me. They're putting $2,000 each or $1.5 each. I'm putting $10,000 to give to the winner. If you want to join us in this bet, very simple. Just click on this link over here and fill in the form. So you can see that when you get here, there will be a form. And you can fill in the form. Just put in your name, your email, your reply, and fill in your tokens so that we can actually pay you the prize, right? 12 tokens each. Submit your show. We'll highlight the winners on our show. Also, while we are here, probably a good time to talk to you about if you believe in the ETH play, if you believe in the real world asset play, I think it's probably a good time to be talking about one of our sponsors. I've been waiting for a time to talk about them. I haven't spoken about them for a long time. The sponsor is called Swarm. Now, if you're looking for a real world asset play, one of the most dynamic real world asset plays on the market, I must tell you that this is, I think, one of them. For one, they can tokenize any kind of security, including bonds, public stocks, gold, a whole lot of others. They keep all assets on chain. Assets never, ever, ever leave the blockchain. Unlike the High-FDV, low floats of other real-world asset plays, these guys are privately funded and they've got great tokenomics. And all the assets are self-custodied. So you can go and check them out. This is the thing over here. You can actually, if you click here, you can actually go and look at the app. Remember, with all real-world assets, it's early. But just look at how much progress these guys have made already in real-world assets. They've also got a token. Here's the token over here. Market cap's 11.3 million. Fully diluted under 100 million. Go and check it out. Swarm Markets. Actually quite a good one. Also, something that I spoke about on Thursday and Friday. I said, look, right now, one of the most, someone says, my grandpa just called me. He wants his sweater back. Oh, is that how it's going to be? I mean, is that how it is, eh? I'm doing protein shakes now because you guys told me I need to build muscle after I did the Andrew Tate thing. So, I don't know. Can you please put a poll around this sweater? Do we like it? Do we not like it? We also spoke last week about the risk of getting into this market. And what I realized is a lot of people are getting into the market and blowing up their portfolios. One of the things that can mitigate this is a partnership that we've done. And we've done this partnership to help you guys. The partnership is with a company called Bitfunded, and it's bitfunded.com. You can see it over here. This is a crypto proprietary trading platform. Now, what does that mean? What does a crypto proprietary trading platform mean? It means that instead of using your own money to trade crypto, if you think that you're a good trader, or if you want to trade with more money than you've got, instead of using your own money, you can use someone else's money to play. Now, how does that work? It's very simple. You can choose which starter pack you want. Either this one, where you put in $99 and you're trading a portfolio of $10,000, $229 and you're getting $25,000, $329 and you're getting $50,000, $549 and you're getting $100,000. Now, here's how it works. You have a two-step assessment process to understand whether you're a good trader or a bad trader. So you sign up for this, you buy now, which I've already bought. I've already bought a starter pack. I've already got a starter pack. You can see here's my account over here. I have a starter pack and I'm ready to trade the starter pack. How it works is that you have a two-stage assessment process. In other words, at first, you're trading with play money. And you got to pass two challenges. In the first challenge, you've got to get an 8% return. So you got to turn 10,000 into 10,800 without a 10% drawdown. The second one, you got to turn 10,000 again into 10,500 without a 10% drawdown. If you get both of those right with play money, then you get real money. You get $10,000 of real money and you play. You're playing with other people's money. So you're not actually risking your own money. And then there's an up to a 90% profit split. In other words, you get 90% of the profits and the platform, which actually gives you the money, gets 10% of it. So that is here. You can sign up using the here. You can sign up. In fact, just put Josh. Just put it just put the website bitfunded.com. It's fine. You don't have to do You don't have to do these multiple links. I mean, you can do it. You can click there and you can sign up and then pick your challenge. But the idea is to pick your challenge and then to trade. Now, what are the advantages? The advantages are that you're not trading your own money, which means that initially, if you lose, you just lose play money. But later on, if you make, you keep all the profits, right? And your maximum downside is that you get the minus 10% drawdown. Now, if that was your own portfolio, you'd be $1,000 down. But since it's not a real portfolio, only $99 in, and you can try again until eventually you actually trading with other people's money. So this is, like, for me, the best risk reward, playing with other people's money. Your maximum risk is you lose the $99. You can put another $99 and try again. But the upside is you get 90%, up to 90% profits of the profit split on this $10,000 account. I think the reason why we partnered up with these guys is because we believe that we want to keep you guys safe. And a lot of you guys were wrecking your own portfolios. I was like, hold on a second. No, don't wreck your own portfolios. Put in $99, get it right, great. Don't get it right, you only lost $99. You haven't lost 10% of your own portfolio. All right. A lot of people are asking about Baked and about Gummy. So let's quickly talk about it. In terms of Gummy, you guys made a decision that you wanted us to distribute the Gummy. I said to you guys that I thought it was a bad idea to distribute the Gummy because you guys wanted the 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗓 airdrop. And so we have to respect what you guys said. In the next week or so, we will airdrop the Gummy tokens from the 𝗕𝗬𝗕𝗬𝗕 airdrop. Here's the poll over here. People, 61.2% of you said that we should airdrop all the Gummy. And so we are. We're going to airdrop it for you in the next 7 to 10 days. Just the person who does it who does it on our side, he lost a parent this weekend. So as soon as he gets back, we'll do it. And then tomorrow we're having a Spaces on Baked because I think Baked is going to melt people's faces. I think people just need to see what I'm seeing there, and it's going to melt people's faces. So tomorrow we're doing a Twitter Spaces on Baked. You can join us. It happens about half an hour after my show tomorrow. I will see you guys again tomorrow. Until then, trade well, my friends.